All right. Hello and welcome everybody to a Fight Legends development update number 10. We're at 10 already. And again, our co-host is our development lead here, Dalen Dizzley. How are you doing today, man?
Yeah, pretty good yourself.
I'm doing great as always. We've got a whole bunch to share. Things are moving forward as always very quickly. Let's dive right back into it, man. Right away, we've got something very exciting. Our next NFT drop will be the companion bot, and we're ready to show everyone a little bit of a sneak peek on that art. Tell us a little bit more about this top story.
Yep. So basically, I guess what you'll be seeing is like the 2D concepts at the moment. We're basically doing exploration of all the different traits at the moment. So this will be, think of it as just like this is one of a potential of the 10,000 unique bots. Um, I'll drop a little bit more information. The bots will be a free mint. At least that's what we're planning at the moment. So
Right.
it'll just be gas. We basically are going to be this companion is going to be like a sort of a companion for the player, and that's how you Play Legends universe, how you access all of your NFTs or your items and things like that. Like think of them as like a node to the decentralized blockchain. Like
Right.
that's what we're kind of thinking. So everyone will have a unique one anyway. There'll be sort of like probably more of like a mascot one that people have, but then the 10,000 will be completely unique, and you'll be able to see them in game. We'll be including the 3D model because that's what we're intending to do. Take
Right.
the 2Ds, turn them 3D, and
Yeah.
then they'll
So
be
it's a
available in game.
so it's a crypto Sherpa is the way I like to look at it.
Yeah,
And
that
these
sounds
guys
good.
look awesome. You know, we've got all sorts of. You got like the little controller ears. I like that kind of
Mm-hmm.
concept. So we're gonna have, and there'll be each one will, each of the drops will be unique. Then,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
oh,
Yep. Basically, we'll have like different color combinations, styles of body, different accessories,
right.
hands. Even the face will probably have different
But it's not
shapes.
generative, right? This one,
Well, yeah,
or
yeah,
will
it
it be?
will be. Like
Okay.
this is the concept you're seeing, so it's not obviously, but the ones that will be in game will be completely generated
Oh, okay.
as with 3D and Blender. So
I meant
you'll be
like,
able to
will it be
explore.
like the random generative NFT drop, or will it
Mhm.
be there will be set art
Yeah,
pieces?
there'll be one set like art piece that we'll be doing, and that'll probably be the mascot, and then there'll be 10,000 unique like generated ones
Nice,
for the
awesome.
drop.
Well, that's super exciting. And so, what do we have any idea on when we'll kind of get the next update beyond the concept art on
Well,
this?
yeah, we've basically at the moment it's going to be our next priority. The artists who are currently working on the game trailer, which we'll be talking about later, um, they are actually currently working on that, so they'll be doing that as their next task. So it'll be within the next week or two. We'll probably have some more updates on it.
Oh, awesome. Well, that sounds awesome. We're definitely going to be looking forward to that. I can't wait to see some more of at least different concept art, and then maybe will we actually be able to see it in a sort of way like we're seeing the fighters come on board to the game, or is that relevant?
We will when they start when our 3D artist starts to play around with them. We'll have some like previs of like it's the
Cool.
how he's sculpting them in
Absolutely.
between the 3D.
All right. Well, next we've got the 3D game menu and the UI mockup. That's been underway. I believe Val's been working on that, and that's looking very cool. And it takes place in our city dojo. So let's take a look at that and walk us through what we're looking at and what kind of things we'll be interacting with once this is finished.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that basically is it's a stand-in because it's obviously the dojo we're using it for this as our stage that we have,
Right.
but it's a stand-in for the player gym. So that'll be basically we wanted to make it more interactive. We want to have the fighters visible and the training in there, and like we mentioned before we started, the bot will actually be visible there as well. And so you be able to do your management in the gym with all your fighters. They'll be training in the gym. You'll be able to actually see them. So it actually creates way more of an interactive environment in a cool setting and having the camera actually switch around. Obviously, this is sort of like the beginning of the mock up of it. And eventually, we want to have it so that the player can customize this gym. So you'll be able to unlock cosmetics in the game or find cosmetics or buy them,
Ooh.
and then apply them to this space and personalize it. We were even talking about potentially having it so that if you have whatever NFTs are in your wallet, you can get basically an NFT like art piece and you can hang it on the wall in the gym or put it on banners, etc. So there'll
That's
be
an
some
awesome
pretty
idea.
cool,
I love that.
yeah. So there'll be pretty cool like ways to customize it and really make it your own.
Like anything in your MetaMask wallet can just be shown as an art piece.
Yeah, why not? Like, we can totally do that. We can just query, pull the file, put it on texture, and show it in the thing for them. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's just
Cool.
incredible. And tell me a little bit more because of course the City Dojo will that's going to be separate from that's going to be a stage as well, right? Eventually.
Yeah, so
And
the City Dojo, it will be its own stage, and
mhm.
that's what we're currently using. We've obviously got a lot to do with it's not the finalized version of it. This is basically the concept that's been pulled straight into the engine, and we're actually hiring an artist at the moment who'll be doing our stage imports and prop design, things like that. So it'll get a bit of a facelift. But yeah, there'll be a separate City Dojo stage, and then this one that you're seeing now will be like the players' gym.
Right. So there'll be that dojo stage everyone plays on, but then they'll be able to come into this one and it'll be customizable.
Yep, personalized. Yep.
Yeah. So I wonder how different we'll be able to allow them to make it like that. It'll be very cool how much we can make it customizable from.
Well, we're thinking about having the potential of having multiple different types of equipment that you can swap around, or even potentially move different things in the gym space depending on what the space allows. But we'll see how much time we have to implement that. I'd love to just keep expanding that as we keep going.
You could also have NFTs that are like have your fighters doing X, Y, or Z in your City Dojo, and be that like have them doing like some dance or I don't know like.
You could have I guess you could have like emotes basically, like it's
like Fortnite,
or changing the way that they work out. So one might be that they're doing boxing, and the other one might be they're doing weights or something.
Or you buy an NFT and it's just a guy elbowing another guy in the face in the background, like for the whole time, right? Like you could just go crazy cartoony with it. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Someone's working on their like mixture for their fireballs in the background or some shit. You like throw some like Skyrim thing in the side. People's got like herbs.
Totally could. I have fighter working on their prosthetic arm or something.
There you go. Yeah, exactly. Tinkering.
Yeah.
What was that from? Like Army of Darkness. Oh no! I guess it was Evil Dead 2 where he creates his own hand. Yeah. All right. Anyway, we've got way off base here. Love me some Sam Raimi. All right, so next we've got the launcher, bug fixes, and the UI getting ready for the Bloody Faces testing. Right now we're going to take a look at the launcher, which will just be, obviously, when you're launching the demo, that's playable now. In fact, speaking of that City Dojo stage, we actually, of course, knew that it's playable because any Bloody Faces holder can get in and play on that stage right now with purchase of it at bloodyfaces.io. Tell us a little bit more about the launcher bug fixes and what we mean by getting it ready for the Bloody Faces testing.
Yeah, so basically we're just trying to do internal testing on it to make sure everything's working as best as we can. And then the Bloody Faces can obviously get their hands on it once we release it to them as sort of they're basically going to help us test it. This is the whole point of Bloody Faces. You're in the development, you're getting your hands a bit dirty with potential things not working quite right. And that feedback allows us to actually, you'll basically become an extended part of our testing team. Which is great. It's really helpful. We've got a small team at the moment. Having testing is amazing. So we're basically going to, right now we're working on just a few little minor sort of cosmetic fixes to it. Everything's pretty much working the way that we want it to. And we're just going through and replacing all the UI elements and making it all sort of more user friendly.
Nice.
So that process should be complete sometime next week. I feel like we're getting pretty close now with our internal testing with it, and then we'll be dropping that, and it'll have a whole bunch of new quality of life features, like you can pause and start the downloading and mid download, mid file even. You can even, so basically it makes it a lot easier for people if they start downloading. Oh crap! You don't have to start it again from the beginning. It selectively chooses what files have been updated since the last patch and will only update them. So once you've installed the main game, it's only small increments when we update things rather than huge, re-downloading the entire thing.
That's great.
So that'll just help out with bandwidth and just user access.
Awesome. Well, that's always, quality of life is always important. It gets overlooked, but especially this
Mhm.
early on, it's something that's unique towards, this part of the development phase for video games, especially. So, yeah, great to see that being worked on. Next, we've got, the Nix Rigging is underway. So we're getting more and more closer to another playable character in that early prototype demo. Tell us a little bit more about what the steps are, where we are, and how much we're actually being able to work on that right now with the trailer being worked on.
Yeah. All right. So we had a little bit of a delay with rigging, but it's stepped back up now. So um, she's basically getting the all of the joints and everything positioned, all the skin weights connected up so that everything's going to be working right. We're going to prioritize basically getting her functional over the other smaller aesthetic things that like facial rigging and
Right.
the clothes physics and things like that. Those things can be added later, but we just kind of like want to try and start speed that up since there was a little bit of delay getting her into the engine, getting her into the hands of the animator. Basically, rigging sets up a whole control system that you can then use to animate, so it speeds up the animation process. And yeah, just basically just want to prioritize getting her in the game. We'll
Absolutely.
have some more updates in the next few weeks, but I'm hoping that the primary rigging, will be done right probably next week, and then the animators can start going nuts trying to animate her.
Awesome. I can't wait to get in there and play with her. And so we'll see. There won't be everything won't be incorporated just yet. But one of the first things do you think, as the first moments she's playable in that early prototype, will the extendable arms be engaged? Do you think?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, that's one because it's one of the core elements of
Sure.
the character design. So that's one of the things that'll be included
Awesome.
in the first update. And then the secondary things will be more things that are cosmetic, again, stuff that makes it look cooler, but isn't necessary for the core like combat
And
design.
we've certainly been seeing that with the upgrades from week to week with Ross in game right now.
Yeah,
So who's our
exactly.
now playable
The
character?
face really adds a whole element of expression to the character, so it's really important. We want to have it for all our characters, but it's definitely something that's secondary to before the combat being primary.
Yeah, and we've been having fun. It's great actually. It brings the characters alive once they start working on those things. So we saw the one of like Ross with the and stuff like that, and everyone's like,
Yeah,
it's great. It's good fun. So yeah, I think it actually helps bring the characters to life and helps you connect with them.
definitely.
And then you start forgetting actually, like a lot of them are tied to real life fighters. So I like to always mention that, like Ross Levine, that first playable character is Turbo Levine from Karate Combat. He's fighting. He's got his scheduled fight. I think it's like mid-May for season
Awesome.
4. So we're
Oh,
definitely going
yeah.
to be around there. Maybe do like a fight companion around that.
Is
So
that in Karate Combat? That'd be amazing.
yep, it
I
is.
want
So
to.
that'll
Yeah,
be
I'll
fun.
definitely watch that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. We'll have to if we can get Yana and plan a event around it. They're kind of a weird. I think they might be overseas, so I'm not sure what time their
What
events
time
are.
zone?
But
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll have
but
to
we'll
plan
figure
in.
that out. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we got Nix out of the way. So actually, so we were seeing while we were talking about Nix and getting her rigging going, we were seeing some older footage of her just going into Unity and like the process towards that. Now we're going on to Shannon Briggs, who we're actually are starting to sculpt into Unity. So tell us a little bit more about that as we see the sculpts, which are already looking great, by the way.
Yeah. So the sculpts start in a program typically either in Blender or 3D Studio Max.
Okay.
Um, so that's more, or even ZBrush depending on like the artist. But yeah. Uh, so you're seeing a very early rough. It's like this is like a first sort of start. Like you can see, he doesn't have any legs. His hair is all just like placeholder. Yeah, very very quick start to it, but it's already looking pretty cool. And we will have more updates pretty soon with that because our artist he's been working on it, and it's already a couple of days old, that shot. But yeah, basically this is the very beginning of a character. They get a very high poly, which is the triangles on the mesh, very
Right.
high poly sculpt. It's typically in the millions of polygons, and then they have to the next part of the task, once they've defined everything and everything is the way they want it, is to what they call retopology. So they actually have to take that millions of triangles version, and they have to try to lower it to about our character's typically have around 50,000 polygons. So it's quite a lot of polygons you have to strip down.
Right.
So they have to go over it and recreate them best to match the shape. And then what they do is they take the high res one, then they do what they call texture baking. They bake the detail from the high version into the texture, into the actual picture that then becomes on the skin. So a lot of the detail and texture actually gets converted from the high into the low. And that's how you keep the fidelity of the character when it comes into the game. So it's actually quite a pretty cool process, and it's quite a specific to game development process, because obviously you see, you might go on ArtStation and see some really cool 3D art people have made of characters and such.
Yeah.
But that'll be a render of a very high poly count version. They haven't done this step because this step is very specific to getting in the game engine for optimization.
That makes sense. Like I've played games in the past where it's like a text game where you can build your own like MMA league, and so you can create people, and you would have to, the way to search for them, like the highest quality characters, was to search for renders. And I actually always thought that meant that they were being built for games, but they're like they are kind of, but they're not all the way there yet.
Yeah, the renders are always like, because Blender can sit there, it has the luxury of printing out a picture over like minutes, hours even, whereas Unity has to do 60 of those a second.
Right.
So it's a completely different, it's all about optimization. It's all about playing with the numbers to try and get it to be as, smooth as possible for the computer to be able to do it, so the low end machines can even afford to, make it look good.
Gotcha. Absolutely. All right. And finally, we were just talking about the trailer, and that's kind of the main focus of the team right now. Can you tell us a little update on where we're at, when we might see a little bit more from that, or actually just see the finished product? Will we see a teaser, and how far out are we?
That's a good point. I'm not sure. We're getting it typically the way that we've been doing the process. It's been a really strong effort mainly between two people, but it's been a whole bunch of other people working on it.
Right.
But the renders will probably be being done this weekend, maybe start of next week. Then we'll get put into the hands of our video editor, and we could, I guess, have him create, I didn't even really think about that, but create like a teaser version, which just shows you little snips of it before he has the full thing ready. So we could potentially be seeing it sometime next week, even in that regard, if possible. But basically, yeah, it's been a really interesting process making the trailer, because it's you're going from pre-visualization, basically storyboarding and timing, getting the right music and trying to fit everything to the music, having to edit the music to try and make it work as well, and then going through and seeing, you got the rough block out, and then you start to say, well, what do we have time to make even better? Like at this point, can we make this happen? Could we shift this around or change this a little bit?
Right.
Or the sort of composition of a shot, like should at what point does the camera come in, or how does it blend? We're lucky that we kind of planned this in a way, so pat ourselves on the back later for it, but all of our stages are sort of in the same place, so we can kind of sequence through them pretty well, because that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to really show off the environments as well,
right?
And the idea of the game as sort of in the core concepts of it. So it's like, how do you visually get across the core concepts of the game? But time will tell. You'll be able to see it probably sometime next week.
Ooh, that's very exciting. I can't wait to get in there, and maybe it could just be screenshots, even just something to give a little bit more of an idea.
We could just do screen grabs. We could do a couple of screen grabs and just tease people with them.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
I'm all into teasing people.
Yeah, well, I think that they're into it, right? We're just giving them we're giving the people what they want when we're doing that. So they love it. All right, man. Well, thank you so much for joining us, as always, every week, now at an earlier time. Hope it's working good for you. Hopefully we can get some of our East Coast friends out and checking things out. I'm also going to do a similar show to this with our CEO, Will Fagan, hopefully. So we're trying to iron out when that will be. And as always, thank you, everyone, for liking and subscribing to YouTube, checking out our Twitter and following over there if that's where you're watching especially. And we'll see you next week. Until then, good night.
See you later, guys.